We are going over a wholesale agreement contract that we received for one of our sellers on their property, and I wanted to make sure that we look at a few things. So, guys, it's they wrote their own contract. It's not on a Trek 1 to 4 family single family residential contract. This is one they drew up themselves. A lot of these terms are just fine, not the biggest deal in the world. We're not attorneys. We want to get our sellers to make sure they pay attention to that, and they get an attorney if they need be. But I just want to skip to the big parts and show you things I look at. A lot of this is regular verbiage I have no problem with, but this is where they get the sellers. So if you look here, they're going to get them under contract, they're going to tie them up, and this is one piece that says this gives them the ability to lock them in a contract and sell the property to a retail buyer via multiple listing service. So they're saying they can get them under contract, go on the MLS and market the property, find a buyer, which could eat up the seller's days on market. It could basically put it out there and damage their opportunity to sell the property later. This is actually doing what the seller could do on their own, um, with kind of cutting them out of the whole picture, which I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, the other part to look at here is just the way the inspection period worked, guys. So they basically are going to ask for 14 days to do their inspection, and they're not going to put any option money up at all. So they're going to get a free 14 days to go through and do whatever they got to do. Really, that 14 days, they call it an option period or inspection period. What it really is they're using those 14 days to push it out and find an end buyer to wholesale this deal. And the seller gets nothing. They back out in 14 days. The seller will get absolutely nothing. And if you look as it goes into some of the terms here, it says buyer shall deposit earnest money only after one, the expiration of the inspection period and completion of the property photography. And after one of those, after both of those are done, whichever's the latest, then they put $1,000 earnest money. So they put no earnest money, no option money. They got 14 days. They can back out for whatever reason. They can market you on the MLS. This contract, to me, I would demand a couple things. One, a little more earnest money. I would demand option money for their days. I would not allow them to put the property on the MLS. These are things that I would not suggest my seller doing because it could actually hurt them. I would try to get out of that as much as possible, renegotiate some of that stuff. Then again, your seller's going to make their own decisions. My seller might actually accept this contract the way it is, which I totally disagree, and I think that's a bad idea. But they've got to test it out and see what they do. They're going to make their own mistakes. As long as I gave them the education, I did everything I was supposed to in my job, is to give them all the facts and all the options so they make the best decision for their family. But these are things you'll find in these wholesale contracts that can end up hurting you. My fear in this situation is they get under contract, and then now that they're locked in and something happens and there's a disagreement, seller wants to back out for whatever reason, or they can't close in the time or whatever it is. At that point, with some of these crooked wholesalers, sometimes what they do is they file a memorandum. What they'll do is almost like hold your property ransom, where they say you have to pay us $5, $10, $15, $20,000, or we'll not release this cloud on title or lien we have on the property. Once they file that memorandum, and you either have to pay them off, get an attorney to go after them, or sometimes your title company can help you work around. But it can be a complete headache. These are the things that we try to help people avoid in these type of situations. But this is the information I have for this contract. Hopefully this helps. Guys, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.